Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. So have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling just completely defeated because your message totally missed the mark? Or maybe you found yourself in a super tense exchange where wires just got completely crossed? Well, today we are diving deep into a really fascinating module called the Architecture of Contextual Communication. We're basically going to look at the exact blueprint of how we communicate, and more importantly, how we can completely eliminate that universal frustration of being misunderstood. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. That's not what I meant. I mean, I guarantee you've said this, right? And I absolutely guarantee you've heard it. It's basically the universal catchphrase for a communication breakdown. Maybe you shot off a quick text that somehow got read as passive-aggressive, or you gave some constructive feedback that was completely taken as a personal attack. When we say those words, we're feeling that terrible friction of knowing our intentions were good, but realizing our delivery just completely missed the mark. This single phrase is the symptom, but today we're going to diagnose the actual disease.
So that really brings us to the million-dollar question. Where do communicators actually go wrong? I mean, if we all know what we want to say in our own heads, why does the intended message get lost in transit so often? What participants in this module discover, and this is a real game changer, is that the root cause usually isn't a lack of vocabulary or even a lack of good intentions. The breakdown actually happens because of a structural flaw in how we deliver our information. Essentially, we're missing the architecture.
Section 1. Content before specifics.
So before we can fix the miscommunication, we kind of have to rethink our whole approach. The very first thing you'll learn here is to just take a step back. We so often get trapped in the immediate, hyper-focused specifics, right? We just throw raw data, specific words, and isolated facts at each other. Imagine your boss sends you a Friday afternoon email that just says, "We need to talk on Monday." Okay, that is raw, specific content. And let's be honest, it is absolutely terrifying. It's literally like handing someone a pile of puzzle pieces without showing them the picture on the box. Context, on the other hand, well, that is the picture on the box. It's the container that holds all the specifics and gives them actual meaning. If that exact same email instead said, "We need to talk on Monday about your upcoming promotion," suddenly that specific content is wrapped up in context. It's calm, it's totally clear, and it has actual positive meaning.
Section 2. Explaining our actions. This is our first pillar.
Context explains actions. Think about that friction we were just talking about. Imagine a coworker abruptly cancels a meeting with absolutely zero explanation. The action itself is super confusing and, human nature being what it is, we naturally tend to assume the worst, like, oh, they're ignoring me, or they just don't value my time. But what if they just add a tiny bit of context like, hey, I have to cancel because of a sudden family emergency? The action itself hasn't changed at all, the meeting is still canceled, but because context explains the why, you instantly shift from frustration to empathy and complete understanding.
Section 3. Providing perspective. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is
Context provides perspective, and honestly, this is incredibly powerful. Communication breaks down so often simply because two people are looking at the exact same specific content, but from two entirely different vantage points. For example, say you tell your entire company sales are down 10%. Well, the marketing team might completely panic, right? They'll assume their recent campaigns totally failed. Meanwhile, the finance team might look at that exact same number and say, yep, that aligns perfectly with our seasonal projections. By providing context, by saying sales are down 10% due to the expected seasonal dip, you are basically inviting everyone to stand exactly where you are standing. You aren't just tossing out raw information, you're giving them the proper lens through which to view it.
Section 4. Setting expectations. And here is our third pillar.
Context sets expectations. You see, when you ground a conversation in clear context, you're creating a really reliable roadmap. Ambiguity and uncertainty breed anxiety, and that leads right back to our favorite phrase, "That's not what I meant." If you hand a project to a coworker and just vaguely say, "Hey, get this done," the expectations are entirely ambiguous. I mean, when do they need it? What's the priority level here? But if you say, "I need this by Thursday so I can review it before Friday's client pitch," suddenly everyone knows the boundaries, the goals, and the outcomes. You're essentially pre-solving misunderstandings before they even have a chance to form.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how these three pillars stack up together to form a really highly structured blueprint. 1. Explain actions. 2. Provide perspective. 3. Set expectations. There's just this beautiful rhythmic rule of 3 happening here, don't you think? If you actively apply this architecture to your communication, you get to completely move away from the chaos of just throwing raw facts at people. Instead, you're building this sturdy, reliable structure of clarity where your intended message is perfectly housed and protected.
Section 5. The language lenses. Context and action.
So how does this whole shebang actually work when we're actively speaking, right there in the heat of the moment? Well, this is context in action, the language lenses. All of those structural pillars we literally just talked about, explaining actions, providing perspective, setting expectations, they all culminate into a single lens through which your language gets filtered. When you speak through a lens, your words are no longer just bare, naked specifics. It's literally the difference between shining a scattered flashlight around a dark room versus using a tightly focused laser pointer. For instance, without the lens, you might snap at a team member and say, "Your report is late." That's raw, chaotic, specific content. But with the lens, you provide that perspective and set those expectations by saying, "Because we need to finalize the budget by noon, I need your report right now." The lens makes sure that the message you send is the exact message received, entirely bypassing that super frustrating communication trap.
So here's my question for you. Which language lens will you use in your next conversation? Are you going to remember to step back from that specific chaotic content? Will you actively build this architecture by explaining your actions, aligning your perspective, and crystallizing those expectations? The blueprint for being perfectly understood is right here in front of you. Next time you enter a crucial conversation, try putting on that language lens and just watch how smoothly your intended message lands. Thanks so much for joining me for this detailed explainer. Keep practicing, and I'll catch you in the next one.